In the quaint English countryside, nestled amidst rolling hills and charming villages, lived the Bennet family. Mrs. Bennet, a woman consumed by the singular desire to marry off her 5 daughters well, bustled about their modest estate, Longbourn. Her patient husband, Mr. Bennet, found amusement in observing his family's quirks and navigating his wife's relentless matchmaking schemes. Their eldest daughter, Jane, was a vision of beauty and kindness. Elizabeth, the second daughter, possessed a sharp wit and an independent spirit. Mary, the middle child, was more interested in books than boys. Kitty and Lydia, the youngest, were known for their youthful exuberance and occasional lack of propriety. One day, news arrived like a whirlwind, stirring excitement within the Bennet household. A wealthy bachelor, Mr. Bingley, was renting the grand estate of Netherfield Park, a mere mile from Longbourn. Mrs. Bennet saw this as a golden opportunity, a chance to secure a wealthy match for one of her daughters. A grand ball was soon announced at Netherfield, and the Bennets were invited. Jane, with her gentle charm, immediately captured Mr. Bingley's attention. Elizabeth, meanwhile, found herself drawn into conversation with Mr. Darcy, Bingley's aloof and prideful companion. Mr. Darcy exuded an air of superiority that grated on Elizabeth's independent spirit. His first impression of her was less than flattering, dismissing her family as a not of consequence enough for him to associate with. Their initial interactions were a clash of wit and pride. Elizabeth couldn't help but challenge his arrogance, while Mr. Darcy found her spirited replies both refreshing and infuriating in equal measure. During the ball, a dashing officer named Mr. Wickham also captured the attention of the Bennet sisters. Wickham, with his charming demeanour and fabricated tale of mistreatment by Mr. Darcy, gained Elizabeth's sympathy. He painted Darcy as a villain, stealing Elizabeth's heart with his lies. As the days turned into weeks, Mr. Bingley's affection for Jane continued to blossom. He expressed his admiration through shy smiles and frequent visits to Longbourn. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's dislike for Mr. Darcy intensified, fueled by Wickham's deceitful narrative. Mr. Darcy, however, couldn't deny his growing attraction to Elizabeth. He found himself drawn to her sharp wit and independent spirit, a stark contrast to the fawning socialites he usually encountered. He gathered his courage and proposed to Elizabeth, expecting her to readily accept his offer of wealth and status. However, Elizabeth, still harboring resentment for his alleged ill treatment of Wickham and his arrogant demeanour, vehemently rejected his proposal. She poured her heart out, expressing her dislike for his pride and his perceived lack of character. Mr. Darcy, though wounded by her rejection, did not retreat. He wrote a letter to Elizabeth, a window into his soul. He revealed Wickham's true nature, exposing his lies and his attempts to manipulate Elizabeth. The letter shed light on Mr. Darcy's past actions, showing his motivations and his attempts to protect Mr. Bingley from a bad connection with Wickham. Elizabeth, upon reading the letter, was mortified. She realized her prejudice had blinded her to the truth. Shame and regret filled her as she understood Mr. Darcy's perspective and the depth of his feelings. Meanwhile, a series of events unfolded, revealing Mr. Wickham's true character. He eloped with Lydia, the youngest Bennet sister, tarnishing the family's reputation. Mr. Darcy, with genuine concern for Elizabeth's family, stepped in anonymously. He secured Lydia's safe return and ensured the scandal wouldn't ruin her chances of a respectable marriage. Elizabeth, realizing the extent of Mr. Darcy's kindness and the error of her judgment, was deeply moved. Her initial prejudice transformed into respect and admiration. While visiting her aunt and uncle at Pemberley, Mr. Darcy's grand estate, she encountered him again. This time, their interactions were filled with an unspoken understanding. Mr. Darcy's pride had softened, replaced by a sincere desire for Elizabeth's affection. Elizabeth, acknowledging her own flaws and her misjudgment, felt her heart soften towards him. As they walked through the beautiful gardens of Pemberley, Elizabeth confessed her past prejudice and her newfound appreciation for his true character. Mr. Darcy, overjoyed by her change of heart, expressed his unwavering love and respect. Their path to happiness, however, wasn't entirely smooth. Mr. Bennet, initially suspicious of Mr. Darcy's motivations, needed to be convinced of his sincerity and commitment to Elizabeth's well-being. Jane, heartbroken by Mr. Bingley's sudden departure, influenced by Mr. Darcy's revelation of Wickham's true nature, needed time to heal. However, true love persevered. Mr. Bingley, realizing his mistake and seeing Jane's genuine affection, returned to. How did you like this story? Be sure to tell in the comment section.